So being the last one of Assassination Classroom, I have no background. Well, I do. I have the wall. I have the door, which I have in some other videos. Definitely the Advent calendar, the Christmas countdown, and the other things I've had, which is including Criminal Minds, etc., etc. But why don't I? Because I'm not going to talk about an episode specifically. I've done the finale. I've talked about everything I want. This is more one of the songs and why I think this is good. This is more what basically. Did you see the title? This is basically what I consider, what I see, what I detect as sort of the theming. Because I think that's important. And mostly this is just wrapping up small things that don't work in the episode, which is basically one of the songs I like and the general themes that I feel like are in this. Because a lot of the things in this show are interesting. A lot of it works the idea of constantly pushing people down is bad, but I've said this repeatedly. I've said how the school cheated with the exams, and all of that is clear, but it shows, in my way, in a weird way, how I think, and I get the message of the Assassination Classroom, it could be wrong, I could be getting the wrong thing, how much value one life has. Because when you're watching the show, definitely when you're rewatching the show, I've rewatched this 3 times. So I watched it once, I rewatched again, and the one for this year was, I think, my 3rd time watching. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I should rewatch it. Because there's definitely certain feelings of how interesting Koro Sensei is as a character. Because by the end, throughout most of the early parts of it, he sort of acts like chaotic. He is going to blow up the world. He blew up the moon. He doesn't care. But it becomes interesting when, why would he do that if he has sort of the person he cared about lost wish in mind? When you figure out even that he didn't blow up the moon, there was a mouse who has a similar ability to him that did it. You question, why would he blow up the earth if he has no motive to do so? And then when you realize with the mouse that 1, he doesn't, and 2, he does have this thing. The one thing which I do find interesting is how long did they attack it? Because when you see the earlier ones, he kind of seemed like, oh yeah, they've been attacking me for like a while now. But it could be like, oh yeah, I could have this thing happen, the same with the mouse, and then this thing could happen, and then it probably will be a while, and then it starts. But it sounds like they've been attacking him, and they're like, oh yeah, here's a way that you can get rid of me. This put me with a group of classroom kids, and I'll teach them. And they just said yes. Which makes me question which made me question this patient. Oh, why would you immediately be like, yeah, sure, I'm down. I'm fine with that mostly, because it mostly gets into one thing. It shows how much he put effort into trying to teach these kids, and definitely trying to show how much you could do. Definitely the last song shows it, of like wanting more time. And when you first watch it, at least for me, it felt like one of those things where, yeah, maybe they do survive him, or something along those lines. And the fact that they did, I think, is better. There's obviously some moments where some people survive, I think, in this series. And I'm not talking about the ones that don't die originally and they just survive, because you can claim that that was the plan. Because you have the teacher who came back with season 1, he didn't die, but that wasn't a situation where I think Nathan would have killed at that point. He didn't have, like, oh, I had these skills. It was subconscious at that point. Especially that he put the knife, the dull edge to the knife towards the neck rather than the sharp edge. So he knows how to attack, but probably not some of the minutiae things of, like, probably is interesting that he knows how to do that, yet not what way around the blade tree. But I don't think he was trying to kill. So I'm fine with that one. And you have other ones where someone's about to be in danger but doesn't. You also have the 3 assassins that, like, they don't die, but I think they were trying to not kill in that whole situation. The only 2, I would say, there's only sort of like 4 times where people get saved in a deadly situation. 2 kind of make sense, which is basically the person that Korosose fell in love with, but her sister was saved once when the tentacles were removed, alongside the other transfer student who also had tentacles, but that was removed. But that was sort of building up to a sort of thing with them. You also have her again, which I like because it refers to her sister being stabbed through the chest and Koro-sensei regretting not being able to save her and her believing that he killed her, meaning that her thing happens, and it makes sense that he might actually try and do something. You also have the other one I keep mentioning, which is Yellow Edge's teacher who survived. I mentioned that before, that's the only thing that I'm not a big fan of, but I'm fine with it overall. But throughout all of this, you might question what I mean by this show makes me show how much One Life means. It's about them trying to kill the teacher. That kind of shows how easy it is to take a life. I think that's one of the reasons. And I think some of Koro-sensei's message is that life are precious not because of how hard it is to get rid of, but weirdly how easy it is. It shows, if you think about it, how taking a life can happen. But it also, in my opinion, the better thing, how much it impacted him. Because at the beginning of the series, like he says, this is not near the end, but this, I think, near midway through, there wasn't much bloodlust, and if there was any, it was aimless. The whole place felt like you would see darkness. The whole corridor, definitely during the first episode, during the first scene, it's lit incredibly dark with no lights. And as the show goes on, you see more people joining with the group, trying to help each other and trying to lift each other up. Which is why I think the other message is good of not only how much one life matters, because there's other situations where because one person died, left them down a Pacific road, or because someone taught from a Pacific way, led them down that Pacific road. And how interactive people would help. It also shows that if you help each other, support each other, and try and help each other learn and grow, that can sometimes be better than doing it through basically sheer... Because everyone else was trying. I'm not going to assume otherwise. But they did it because it's E-class. They won't succeed. And that's what I like. That's why I love this series, because it's a contradiction. On one hand, you're looking at an exam trying to beat it because you're the worst class in the school. On the other hand, you're trying to kill a teacher, your own teacher, who's incredibly near indestructible. Both are weighed at the same level of impossibility and the same level of importance as each other. And when you beat it, which they did with the school test, it fills them with sort of like they can do it. And again, I do like the fact, and this is going to be the last video of this, I am going to talk tomorrow about what's the plan in the future. There's also going to be a really long one for like the episodes and like what goes where, etc, etc, etc. But I do love this. How the show works, how it's all created, and how it shows the importance. And this is why I sometimes watch a show. It's fun, it's hilarious. I have showed you all the points that I love in each episode. It shows how much one life can matter. And that I think is amazing. And that's why I love the show, because it shows that hope. In a contradiction about trying to kill the teacher mattered so much. and it's so good. So, for the last time in this sort of video series, I hope you enjoy, and good night.